It ended 2-2 at the Emirates, Arsenal 2, Bayern 2. The performance had positives, it certainly did. There were some worrying things in there too. And so the natural takeaways from pretty much everyone I'm seeing is, well, it was a learning curve for Arsenal. They haven't been in the quarterfinals for 14 years. This group of players, a lot of them haven't played at this stage, and they'll have learned a lot from that. But what exactly do we mean when we say they would have learned a lot from that? It would have been a learning curve. What have Arsenal really taken from this 2-2 draw against Bayern Munich? Certainly a little bit of hope that we can do something out there. I think that is fair. But there are also things we need to improve and that we need to really build on when we travel to the Allianz. And actually, as we go into the rest of the season, because it's crunch time, and actually we're in this pressurised situation now for pretty much every game between now and the end of the season. So let's go through what for me are my 5 big takeaways, or at least the 5 things I hope Arsenal have really learned. If there are any more, let me know in the comment section below, because I might have missed 1 or 2. But these are the big ones that stand out to me. And the first thing I want to go through is the fact that, number 1, opposition quality comes through in 180 minutes. Now, we've only played 90 of those 180 minutes, and quite frankly, if there are no goals at the Allianz in those 90, we're going to play another 30. But opposition quality comes through. Everyone kept talking about the form of both teams going into this game. People saying Bayern Munich keep losing games, they've thrown away the title to Bayer Leverkusen. Okay, they've had one off year, right? But look at the quality they've got. Look at the money they spent to assemble a phenomenal group of talent. And in 180 minutes, in Champions League football, at the quarter-final stage, that quality is going to tell at some point. The likes of Harry Kane, the likes of Leroy Sané, the likes of Kingsley Coman, Serge Gnabry, Kimmich, Goretzka, Musiala, Müller didn't even play, Alphonso Davies. These players are going to have moments in 180 minutes because they're too good not to. At some point, they're going to show what they're about. And I think Arsenal are a little naive in this game when they go 1-0 up. Because the first 10 minutes, we had to just let them have the ball and feel our way into it. Then we get the goal. Then Ben White obviously nearly makes it 2-0. But then the way we were set up for some of those counter-attack moments, the way Raya steps forward, it felt like we didn't really appreciate that. If we get this moment wrong, they're going to hurt us. Lo and behold, they did. And they got 2 goals when really they didn't do much else, if we're really honest. Kingsley Coman hit the post late in the game. But Arsenal, I think, will feel that they did really well to limit Bayern, but their quality showed, and when we can get more than 2 goals, we still came out with a draw. That's a big learning curve. Quality comes through in the Champions League. The second thing I've got sort of follows on from that first point, but it's that we needed to plan for Bayern's transition more. I've got to say, and I'm not trying to do the whole I told you so, what the hell do I know compared to Mikel Arteta? I did feel, and you'll know from Monday's video where I talked about this, I did feel we needed Rice in that central hub, that number 6 position, not just to play through, because we might have lost something in build-up if he was there without Jorginho, but we needed to set up a little bit better for the fact that Bayern Munich can hurt us in transition. And when you looked at the positions that Harry Kane was picking up the ball, the passes he was spraying, it felt like it was too easy for him to do that because either Gabriel and Saliba engaged, gave away fouls or pulled out of position, or he was able to just turn, pick up his head and play a pass. His pass map, I'm sure, was phenomenal. You know, the amount of times he was able to just find the wingers, the amount of times he was able to create just moments for Bayern on the counter. They didn't always amount to everything. You know, Arsenal players were able to recover and stop those moments for Bayern Munich. But Harry Kane and Musiala at times, Musiala wasn't phenomenal on the day, don't get me wrong, but it just felt that Jorginho and sometimes Ødegaard dropping deep in build-up, it just felt that if we did lose possession, we didn't actually have the players where we'd want them to deal with those situations like a Declan Rice, and you see that with some of the goals. So for me, Arsenal just didn't do enough to actually nullify Bayern's threat, and when we go there, it's got to be a complete different game plan. I think we've really got to set up to actually stop them and hope something else happens, but more on that later. You've got to deal with Bayern's transition threats. You've got to respect the opposition in the Champions League. I'm not saying we didn't completely, but I did feel that the way we played was very reminiscent to last season's Arsenal. You know, let's attack, we'll find opportunities, we'll score, we'll probably outscore them. This season we've been much better at actually recognising the opposition can hurt us too, and we didn't really show that in this first leg. Third point is that I think Gabriel Jesus has a massive part to play in the rest of this season. Forget just the Champions League in the rest of this season. I'm really glad Arteta made that sub. I think he left it a touch late. Now I know it was probably the 66th, 67th minute, so it's not that late in the game. Subs can be made around 70 plus minutes in, especially from Mikel Arteta, but I felt really he should have given it 15 minutes, and on 60 he should have gone, right, Jesus, we're going to need 30-35 minutes from you. Because you saw the minute he went up top and Havertz moved back into midfield. I thought Havertz struggled throughout the game, by the way, though I acknowledge he played a big part in Saka's opener. I felt that Gabby Jesus basically said, give me the ball. Forget that there's someone behind me. I'm going to pin them. Give that ball to me. And it created chaos. Their centre-backs had to step forward. He was able to flick the ball into someone else. He was able to turn. He was able to just make things happen centrally where we weren't pretty much all game. It felt that if we were going to do anything, it was going to come through Martinelli and Saka, a little bit of magic there. Centrally, we weren't really doing things. Rice was struggling to get into game. Erdegaard was brilliant, but everything he did brilliantly would then amount to the ball ultimately going wide, or at least it felt to me that way anyway. I might be wrong. So Jesus comes in, and you see it with the goal that he creates for the equaliser. He gets the ball. It's really lovely work from Erdegaard, Saka. Jesus gets the ball in the penalty area. Lovely quick feet in such a tight situation. I mean, it should not be underestimated how unbelievably well he does in that situation, and not just to pull off the skill. You know, feinting the shot, darting inside, getting it back on his right foot, but then to know that Trossard's there and rolling it into his path, it's world-class play. And Gabi Jesus is a player who on his day at his best can look world-class. We just know he's not the complete striker we need, but he's going to have a massive part to play. And I think when we go out there, you look at that goal we got against Sevilla, right, where, on the counter-attack, he's the one who holds up the ball, he's got two players around him, brilliant bit of skill to turn back inside, and then playing Martinelli on the counter. We're going to need that out in Munich, and I think Gabi Jesus has a huge part to play in this second leg against Bayern Munich at the Allianz. My fourth point, I'm going to make it quite quick. Don't force it, Arsenal. I was really disappointed, actually. The most frustrated I was all game wasn't at 2-1 down or at 2-2. I was kind of confident we could find moments, and I was okay with the performance. For the last 10 minutes, we started forcing it. And there were some players that were doing that throughout the game. I felt Saliba never really got into his rhythm and really quite understood what was on, what wasn't on. But there were certainly moments from Arsenal that last 10 minutes where you're thinking, can we create a moment? Can we score? Can we win it? I know Trossard got the equaliser. I thought he struggled the rest of the game. Poor touches, trying to force passes into central areas that weren't there. Zinchenko was trying a few things. I actually thought he did quite well as a cameo, but trying to force things that weren't on. Towards the end, everyone, Thomas Partey giving the ball away, White giving the ball away. Everyone was trying to make passes in that last 10 minutes that weren't on. And I kept thinking, why are we doing this? It's not the end of the world if we take a draw there. Yes, it'd be disappointing, but we were playing from minute 82 onwards like it was the 95th minute of a Premier League game where you got to leave it all out there. There was another leg to come, and we nearly lost it through Coman hitting the post because we were just sloppy at times as well. Don't force it, Arsenal. Chances will come in this second leg. Moments will come. We need to focus more on stopping Bayern Munich and acknowledging that our moments will come at some point and that we don't need to force this. I just felt Arsenal were playing too much like they had to win it at the Emirates, and I don't really understand why. I know a lot of fans felt that way. I didn't understand why, with that either. I'm not saying it would have been great to win at the Emirates. Of course it would have been, and we should have aimed for that, and we did aim for that with the football we played, the chances we had. Of course we could and should have won there, but we were just playing too much like, it was essentially worth risking losing the game to win it, and I don't really understand why we were trying to force it. Second leg, be calm, the chances will come. Final point is that, and it's ending on a positive, we belong on the big stage, people. That is a big takeaway for me. We belong on the big stage. 2 big games happened. Arsenal, Bayern, Real Madrid, Man City. Heavyweights colliding across Europe. 10 goals on the night. Some absolute belters. Some brilliant football. Some immense skill on display. And we were a part of that. Look at Martin Odegaard's performance. Look at Gabi Jesus in that tight space there. Look at the Emirates crowd and the fact that Bayern Munich, I actually felt, did well and were in a good shape and, created moments in transition and they were quite dangerous, and yet it was a 2-2 and yet we outplayed them and yet we had the better chances and yet we're disappointed we didn't win. Bayern Munich might have league form that makes you think they're jokers, but they're not, and I warned about this in all the previews and videos I did before the game. I warned that they're no jokers because on this stage they have, they've got the calibre, they've got heritage, that's the word. These players, a lot of them have been there and done it before, and we haven't. As a group we haven't, and yet we match them, and I think we bettered them in a lot of phases of play. So look, it's disappointing we didn't win, and I think Arsenal will learn a lot, and let me know in the comment section below what else Arsenal will learn from this game. But I just felt that ultimately, while we didn't win, I'm not happy with the draw because I think we could and should have won, and our errors ultimately got punished. Like I mentioned in the first point, quality comes through, our errors got punished, and we could have won this game had we been a little bit smarter, a little bit more switched on at times, had our decision making been a little bit better. But I think we certainly proved we belonged with the best, and Arsenal fans are going to the Allianz with hope, and it's been a very, very, very long time, if ever, since we've said that. So Arsenal, build on this. Big second leg to come, but first, it's Aston Villa. And I just want to say a really big thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, actually hit the links right here to watch more content like this, including my Football First podcast, which drops every Monday to Friday at 6 AM. And I know it's annoying, I am really sorry to have to ask, but if you want to show support to the channel, hitting the like and subscribe buttons help promote the content much more than you could possibly know. Thanks again.